if you think Shenmue 3 is the only game Sony wants gamers to foot the bill for, then you better think again. And this isn't me just speculating, this is Sony PR on the record saying that this is something they're looking into doing more. So why was a Kickstarter launched on stage at E3, the biggest gaming event in the year, for a game that apparently a lot of people want to play? I mean, this is a game that a lot of people have said we want. But let me ask the question this way. Do you know why Shenmue 3 hasn't been made after all these years? It isn't because, they haven't went to publishers or investors to try to seek funding for this game. They have. But they keep on getting turned down. And the reason is the game just didn't sell well enough to recuperate the costs that original investors put in order to get the game made. And I believe somewhere, back in the 90s they did an interview where they said it was in the neighborhood of like $47 million as far as costs go to get this game made. And they never saw anywhere close to that as far as recuperating. So the game's a big risk. And now the risk is in the hands of the consumers by having them fork most of the bill for this development. But I'm going to tell you, this is a dangerous road to go down. And I'm seeing all these people talking about how smart it was for Sony to do this and how it's actually, a better way to gauge interest rather than a survey or a poll, which, these companies have only been doing for decades to determine interest. They have research and marketing groups and all these people that they pay big bucks in order to find out whether or not there is interest there in order to build a game. But people are trying to say, oh no, this is a much better way, just let us pay for it. It's dangerous because you can't expect this to be the last game that this is done with. If companies start seeing that fans are willing to take the risk so that they don't have to, you can bet they're going to start using this more. Oh, Dragon, you're just being extreme. Sony isn't interested in doing any more Kickstarters for games. This was a one-time deal, and this wasn't even Sony's idea. The developer wanted to do it. Really? So, here is a quote from an interview with Yoshida, Sony's Yoshida. He was asked, are there any other beloved cult titles we can expect to see Sony boost in terms of crowdfunding? Crowdfunding being Kickstarter. Crowdfunding being that you're going to put in the money in order to develop the game. And Yoshida responded with, quote, I don't know. Gio Corsi, the director of third-party production and developer relations, is the guy working on that. So Yoshida doesn't deny it. So Dragon, that doesn't mean that they're doing more. But a Sony PR person was in the room with Yoshida during this interview, and they spoke up and said, Sony's building a list. So they're already building a list for other games to do this with. So you pay for your hardware, you pay for your accessories, you pay to play online, you pay for your games, and now you want to pay to help develop them. And you're okay with this. And not only are you okay with it, but you're encouraging it. And the other big question about this whole ordeal is, what exactly is Sony's role? Kickstarter is meant as a place where developers can go seek funds who don't have normal outside investor groups pitching in. They don't have large multi-billion-dollar corporations who are helping in this project usually. Because if you know that multi-billion-dollar corporations are helping with a project, you're probably going to be less likely to support it with your hard-earned money. And the truth is, we have no idea what Sony's role is. There's people who are going to be posting videos and links to YouTube and different articles claiming that these people know exactly what Sony's role is in this game. And I'm here to tell you that they don't. Because some people are saying that Sony is only going to be marketing the game. But let's listen to what Gio said about it. He's the guy that Yoshida says is in charge of this. He's the guy building more games and more lists for this. So here's him talking about it.
Now, one question we've definitely seen from PlayStation fans is, what's PlayStation's role in all this? I mean, is PlayStation involved in some way?
Absolutely. First off, Shenmue 3 was the #1 ask on the whole Building the List campaign. So when that first started, right off the bat, Shenmue 3, Shenmue 3, Shenmue 3. So this has been an ask for as long as I've been at PlayStation. And we met with Suzuki-san at GDC last year, and we started the long road to try and figure out how we were going to get this whole thing made. And we said, the only way this is going to happen is if the fans speak up, and we thought Kickstarter is the perfect place to do this. So we set a goal for $2 million, and if the fans come in and back it, then absolutely we're going to make this a reality. So Sony and PlayStation is definitely a partner in this game, and it's going to be run through third-party production. We're going to help YSNet get the game done. We're going to be partners on it the whole way, and really excited to see this thing come out in a couple of years.
So if the fans come in and back it, then we're going to make this a reality. Sony and PlayStation is definitely a partner in this game. We're going to help YSNet get the game done, and we're going to be partners on it the whole way through, and excited to see this come out in a couple of years. Now, whenever you say that you're going to help YSNet get the game done, to me that sounds like more than marketing. If you said, I'm going to help, YSNet get the game sold, that sounds more like marketing. And the reason that's an issue for many is because the Kickstarter page didn't even mention that there were other backers like Sony until after the $2 million marker was made. Because if you remember, they put up a page, they said, we need $2 million to make this game. And so far, they've refused to say just how much money they've secured from outside sources. They put it up there originally, leading people to believe that they were the only backers of the game. So whatever money they get is how much money they're going to have to develop. Now, they also just recently updated the page to say that an open world game can't be made for $2 million. So even if they would have hit their goal for $2 million and that would have been it, you wouldn't have gotten an open world game. You wouldn't have gotten the game that the developer wanted to bring you. If the goal was set for $2 million and you knew $2 million wouldn't make the game that you wanted to make, why set the goal for $2 million? And another strange part of this is the stretch goals. So now that they've hit $2 million, they've started adding, more things. So like if we hit 2.5 million, you get this, or 3, you get this. So for like 2.6 and 2.7 million, they added Spanish subtitles. So you're telling me if they would have only gotten $2 million, they weren't going to release this game in any Spanish markets? They were just going to leave that huge territory empty? I mean, to me, that just doesn't make any sense. And in an Ask Me Anything Reddit, the dev came out and said that for $2 million, they were going to finish the story. If they get $5 million, they're going to add some really cool things to the game that he's always wanted to do. And if they get $10 million, then you're going to truly get an open world game. So why not say that at the beginning? Why not let everybody know, look, you've waited for years and years to play this game. You've waited years and years to finish it. I've waited years and years to make it. And to truly make the game that I want to make, we're going to need $10 million. Which, looking at how Kickstarter is going right now, I'm not sure that $10 million is going to be within reach. But it just seems like a whole lot of different mixed messages and not much transparency, or as much transparency as you would hope if you're the one that's going to be funding this project. And, I mean, there's also a lot of trolls out there on Kickstarter who are pledging and then retracting, huge $10,000 plus pledges. So it's a roller coaster ride for fans who really want this game. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad fans are going to finally get an ending. They've been waiting for this game for some time. I'm glad that they want it and they're willing to do anything it is, and they don't care, what the process is in order to get that. It has nothing to do with the game being made, but everything to do with how it was carried out and marketed. And it just doesn't sound right to me. I mean, I go to Sony and Microsoft for premium experiences, for premium games. And there's been a lot of gamers in the past who have been hung out to dry by Kickstarter schemes. We've talked about that before on this channel. I'm not saying this is one of them, but this is not how I want these multi-billion-dollar companies beginning to decide on which games to make, by making the consumer help fund the titles. I don't even like pre-ordering games. And I've told you before I wouldn't pre-order games. And I mean, at least with pre-ordering, there's already a game in development or it's almost done. With this, you have no idea what the end product is going to be. And if they don't hit their $10 million marker, then you know you're not getting the game that the developer really envisioned. You're not getting the game that they really wanted to put out. And I mean, you would think for a game that, you know, has this much talk, this many backers, that $10 million would be a drop in the bucket for Sony. And, you know, since Sega owns the IP, I mean, maybe there was just something there where they couldn't invest that much money. And, I mean, of course, everybody knows with Sony's financial situation, they can't really be taking a whole lot of risk. But I just think that this might be a dangerous road to go down. And I don't want to see this go from for the players to by the players. So post your thoughts below. Do you think Microsoft and Sony should start doing this more often? Should they use this as a way to gauge, you know, public interest and have you start funding the bigger, riskier games so that they don't have to? That does it for me, the Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn.